Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon Snap. Last time we went through the camera check and Professor Oak's check after we had played the previous time. We had replayed the previous time the sixth stage. And after that, the professor gave us a new item, the dash engine, and so yeah, that will make it easier to replay stages from now on. And after that, we started checking out the Pokemon signs in the Pokémon Report. And yeah, so today we continue doing that. First and foremost, we'll check out the gallery in the option on the title screen, because honestly, I'm not sure if we'll be back there other times and so on. But yeah, so without further ado, let's start and do those. Okay. And yeah, let's start with the gallery. Giarari, as you have seen. And yeah, I'm not pressing immediately, as we have an additional writing in on the middle bottom, usual description, that I think if I press A would go away. So let's start with that, and then we'll check out the options on the left and so on. Well, of course, on the top, in the middle, again, more or less, we have Giarari, so yeah, gallery, like in English. Notice again the ya sound to simulate the ga in English, like we've seen it also for kya for ke. Yeah, let's check. Also check out again its accent. Yeah, it's accented on the first syllable as expected. Yeah, then we have this description. Kimi ga totta shashin no naka kara okiniri no 4枚 o narabete mi yo. First and foremost, we have Kimi, which is a pronoun, second person singular, actually an accent, so Kimi, and so yeah, you. Familiar language, sometimes considered male language, but and yeah, when referring to someone of equal or lower status. But yeah, in general, familiar language. So yeah, of course, it's not the one the pronoun you'd use in a more formal context. And it's worth mentioning that actually the classical pronoun for you for those contexts would technically be anata. You might have heard it before. But yeah, would be polite in reference to someone of equal or lower status, of course, always. But now it's often regarded as rude or distant. Actually, the way to say that someone, to refer to someone in the second person is actually using their name, often surname, plus a suffix, usually the fundamental one, son, Mr, and so on. But yeah. Or the surname, name in general, plus title. We have seen, for example, sensei. In colloquial settings, also Hakase, as we have seen for Professor Oak. But yeah, it was worth reviewing those since some we have already seen, but it was still worth mentioning. Yeah, here we have Kimi. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have Totta, as usual, from Toru, to take, in this case, of course, of pictures. So specifically, there's also a specific kanji, not used here, of course, since we use only kana. It's a verb, Godan verb, so we can change the to make data form, just like data form, we have to follow the rules. It's in ru, and so it becomes double consonant ta, because again, continuity form do, ri, change the ru into i, ta, then the i fell, torta, difficult to pronounce, became simply double consonant ta. After that we have a noun, and so actually yet again it's relative close. Noun, which is shashin, the usual typical noun we have seen in this series, because it means photo, picture, unaccented, it's a Chinese compound. Then we have the possessive particle no. Then we have naka. We have seen it often. This one is the most typical one, accented on, well, both are accented on the first syllable, naka. This is the one for inside, interior, or middle, center. And so by extension also among, within, also during, while. Yeah, in our case, among. Then we have the particle kara, from. Then we have okiniiri. We've already seen this expression. First we have the honorific o, the honorific prefix o. Then we have ki, unaccented, which means spirit, mind, and so on. We've seen it. I mentioned multiple times that you might have heard it in martial arts, for example. Ki, in Chinese ones as qi. It's a Chinese word, ki. Then we have the particle ni, and then we have this iri from iru. Actually, on its own, an accented iru should be nowadays not often used because we use the compound also from it, hairu, but the meaning is still the same, to enter, to go in, and so on. It's a verb, Godan verb, despite being in iru, so be careful. And so we can change the u into i to make the continuative form. And so the corresponding noun. And yes, so we have this entering the spirit, mind, and so on. But yeah, so it actually, this expression, okiniiri, is used as an adjective for favorite. Yeah, literally, that enters one's mind. And so, in the sense that it's their favorite thing. By the way, okiniri, the full expression is unaccented. Then we have again the possessive particle no. Then we have the number 4 and my. So again a numeral plus counter combination. In this case, my is, we've already seen it, counter for thin, flat things like sheets of paper, and so of course also photos. It's a Chinese reading, and so we would usually use Chinese numerals, but for the number 4 we use yon, which is of strictly Japanese origin instead, simply because of the connotations of the Chinese pronunciation of 4, which is xi, and so the same as the pronunciation for death, and yeah, so that's why. I'll quickly check again the accent of the numeral of this numeral plus counter combination. Yeah, I got the physical dictionary to do so. Let's see. Oops. Yeah, actually, in this one is before. Let's see, my. Because I'm not sure, I know we have seen my before, and so also the pronunciation in general, but it's worth checking because again, they're not as easy and there might be exceptions. My in general is one that usually is accented before the my, right before the my, and so. Yeah, actually, in this case, yon is follows the rule. So yon mai on the first syllable, of course on the yo, because it can stay on the n because it's part of the syllable and the syllable matters for these accents. And yeah, the only exception actually again is for 5, which is my unaccented. As we see, there are some that do like that, that only the 5 is the exception that is unaccented, while the other ones luckily follow the rule. So yeah, yon mai. Then we have the object particle o, written as wo, and pronounced as such in careful speech and also singing. Then we have the verb narabete. We have seen it before, or at least I've mentioned it because we have seen narabu for sure, the intransitive form. Naraberu is the transitive one, which means actually it's unaccented, so naraberu. To line up, to set up, to arrange in a line. By the way, by extension also to enumerate, to itemize. So yeah. But of course in this case it's simply to line up. Actually it's simply in the sense of to set up. To dispose, so to put in this arrangement, to arrange. Yeah, it's a ru verb, it's done verb, so we can drop the ru and add te to make that a form. the form required, because then we had miru, here further conjugated. Miru means to see, to watch, to look at. But yeah, when following the form of a verb, it means do the action of the verb and watch, but watch as in and look at the result. And so yeah, it actually means temiru, to try doing the action of that verb in te. Miru is a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru and add yo-u, so long yo, to make the volitional form, and so in its most common meaning, let's. And so yeah, the translation is simply let's arrange it. Line up would be, but in the sense of arranging them like this. For of your implied favorite from literally the middle, from among the photos that you have taken. And yes, so that's the explanation of this option, of this choice on the title screen. And yeah, now it says this, that it's simply reporto ya arubamu no naka kara suki na shashin o erande ne. First and foremost, we have our usual report. Only pay attention that the accent should be on the po, because of course Japanese doesn't change for English words the accent like English words can do, and so it's accented as if it were report, even though here it's a noun. Then we have a particle which I'm not sure if we have seen before. It's a pretty useful one because it's used for non-exhaustive lists, and so the meaning would be such things as and. You might remember that we have seen nado, which has a similar meaning, and yeah, often they're used in combination. We have ya after one or after the very first noun with this particle, and after some, one, two, and it's a non-exhaustive list, so you won't find it with a complete, an exhaustive one, a complete one. Then we have at the end actually nado often, which has again the meaning and would be more like and so on, we have seen before, etc. And the like and so forth. Nado, by the way, accented on the first syllable. Actually, in this case, it actually mentions the two only places from where we can take them, but yeah, usually actually for non-exhaustive lists, for exhaustive ones we would simply connect the nouns with to. The particle which means in that case with, for example, also with a person simply, but in that case simply and to connect two nouns. But yeah, after that we have arubamu, album, unaccented by the way, as we have seen before, so be careful. Then we have again no naka kara. literally from the middle of, and so from, in this case, we can actually keep it like that, and it actually works. After that, we have skinny, better skina, because it's ski is a na adjective, with the barely heard if at all, because it's between unvoiced consonants as usual. It means preferred, favorite, would be also, the closest one would be technically actually liking, as in the sense to one's liking, to one's taste, and it's an adjective often used to mention something that you like. In waga structure, wa for the person, for the someone who likes something, ga for what that person likes, and then at the end, of course, this ski. In this case, it's easier because it's actually simply with the na, because of course it has a following noun and modifies it again, shashin, and so preferred photos. Then we have the object particle o. And then last but not least, we have the verb erande from erabu, to choose, to select, to pick. We've seen it for sure during this series also, because we have had to pick several things in various occasions. But erabu, it's a verb codon verb, so we have to follow the rules to make the form. It's in Buis, so it becomes nde again, because it became the continuative form first, era, bi, te. But then the E fell, so only B remained. But voiced consonants used to be prenasalized in classical Japanese, so erambi, and so actually remained the eram. So only the N remained at the end, and then it modified the following te into de, again because it would have been then prenasalized, so nde, and so actually like now we write it with the oral nasal and then de, erande. The form in this case is required because it's actually a contraction. There's an implied kudasai, and so the imperative polite. I'll quickly mention again kudasaru, it's a verb of giving, and so after the form it means make the favor of doing the action of that verb. Kudasai is actually also a contraction because it would be kudasaimasen from kudasaru, continuative form kudasari, but actually the R fell, and so it is kudasai. It's those honorific verbs that are an exception. And then masse, which is the imperative form of mass, and so the polite imperative. When you find these te forms at the end of sentences, more often than not they imply a kudasai, and so are used for the polite imperative. So please could add in English to make it polite. Please choose. Last but not least, we have the final sentence particle ne. As a okay in this case, or a with you, to make a request. Technically, as it says here, an informal one, but in a sense, yes, even though it's polite, because we also have the contraction, so yeah. But yeah, so the translation is simply please choose your implied preferred photos from the middle of the report or album. And yes, so we have seen those descriptions. Now we have these settings on the left. And also these all these descriptions. I'd say okay, let's do it like this, because honestly this could become quite long, and as you might remember, we have still 4 signs to go through, so we'll actually be back for the gallery, but at least we have started it, so we'll be back to finish it, hopefully in another occasion when we start from the title screen instead of being forced, because we didn't have time and so on to make a save state. But yeah, so for now, we'll check only this final option, Kiroku. Again, we have seen it before in the main game, as it means, well, record, as in document, also the act of recording, putting on record. It's should be an accent. Yes, it's an accent because it's a Chinese compound. But yeah, often used in video games in the sense, of course, of saving. And yeah, we have then the description, Kiroku o shite kara taitoru gamen ni modoru yo. First and foremost, we have again Kiroku. Then we have the object particle o. We have then the verb shite from suru, an accented to do. Unfortunately, completely irregular, so we have simply to remember that to make the form it becomes shite. Form in this case is required because then we had kara, and so we have this te kara form, so which means after doing the action of the verb in the form, after recording, literally doing a record, and so saving after recording, as in saving in this case. And yeah, then we have taitoru, title from English, should be accented on the first syllable. And yes, it is. We have then gamen. We have seen it because of the options for sure. It's a screen of a TV, computer, and so on. By extension, also the image on a screen. And so yeah, the title screen in our case. Gamen on its own is accented on the first syllable, so be careful. It's one of, despite being a Chinese compound, it's one of those that are accented there instead of being unaccented. Then we have the particle ni, so to, with the meaning to in this case, and then we have the verb modoru, to return, accented to go back. And yeah, last but not least, we have the final sentence particle yo, and so with the meanings hey or you know. And yeah, so emphasis, in other cases contempt, request, warning. But yeah, here simply emphasis. And yeah, so the translation is simply after saving, as in keeping a record. So yeah, saving in this case. You implied we could say will with the future, since technically happens in the future, and we can use the present form for that in Japanese. Will go back to the title screen. And yeah, so we choose that. And yeah, there in red was written simply Kiroku 2. So yeah, again, Kiroku plus, in this case, 2, which is the Chinese reading of the kanji with the strictly Japanese one for Naka. And so yeah, again, the same meanings, middle and so on, but yeah, used as a suffix as in currently doing the action of the Chinese compound. So yeah, currently recording as in saving. Yeah, let's go back. And yeah, let's continue. And yeah, we stopped there for now the gallery, because yeah, we have all those other signs to check. Let's start with this one. First and foremost, it says Kemuri wa, between quotes, Kemuri wa moku moku katachi ga kawaru ga Pokémon poi no ga aru rashi. And yeah, first and foremost, we have Kemuri. A noun, technically from a verb, as you might have guessed with that E at the end. Kemuru, I think unaccented, yes, unaccented, means to smoke of fire. It's an intransitive verb, so in that sense. To say to smoke, you have to use the verb su, which we have seen especially in Kirby's Adventure, of course, and accented also su, because it's actually literally to breathe in, to inhale, and yeah, by extension to smoke. But yeah, in our case we have Kemuru, to smoke of fire, to smolder, by extension also to be hazy, to look dim. But yeah, it's a verb, Godan verb, so we can change the U into E to make the continuative form, and so the corresponding noun, like in our case here, smoke, fumes. And yeah, it's between quotes to put emphasis on it. Then we have wa, written as ha, it's the topic particle. As for smoke, then we have moku moku. Also, since it's in katakana, you might have guessed it, as often those are in katakana. Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia and also based on the sound. Moku moku. We check also the accent. Okay, accent on the first syllable, as often those are. It means rising of smoke, clouds, and so on. But yeah, also rolling up, billowing up. But yeah, fundamental meaning, moku moku, rising of smoke, clouds. Then we have katachi. And by the way, it's an onomatopoeia and an adverb. But yeah, then we have katachi, which is a noun again, which means form, shape, figure. An unaccented. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have kawaru, a verb, which means to change. It's actually the intransitive form of, by the way, should be unaccented, because this is the intransitive form of the verb kaeru, which we have seen before, also unaccented, to change, and also those extended meanings as in to replace, to exchange, depending on the kanji. This one also depends on the kanji, of course, if we were to use them. Yeah, the fundamental meaning to change, as in the intransitive, so something changes. And yeah, in our case, the shape, the form. And yeah, it's unaccented as expected. Then we have, after that, ga. In this case, it should be the ga, which means the conjunction, which means but, however. In some cases also and. And as we have seen before, in this very series, it's used also simply to introduce, used after an introductory remark or explanation. And yeah, like, and most likely in this case, it's that, as we'll see. And then after that, we have Pokémon, of course. After Pokémon, we have this poi, which is a suffix. Of course, with that e at the end, you might guess that, yeah, it's a e adjective. A suffix which means ish, like. And yeah, so to say that something is like that. Whatever comes before it, it's ish. And in our case, Pokemon like would be then we have after that no. In this case, more than the technically the nominalizer, it's more like a pronoun replacing something. So yeah, simply to say the one, like in English, the one, in our case would be ones, as in ones, the forms of the smoke, of course. But yeah, in general, the usual nominalizer for verbs and adjectives, but yeah, used in that sense, I'd say here, because you could technically see it simply as the nominalizer, but yeah, we'll see it also in translation. After that, we have the, again, subject particle ga. Then we have the verb aru, to be as in to exist, of inanimate things. Iru, the one for unaccented, unlike aru, for animate ones, and so people and animals. But yeah, also used as there is, there are. Last but not least, after that we have rashi, which we have seen is an auxiliary adjective, again in an e adjective, which means seeming, appearing, and so judgment based on evidence, reason, or trustworthy hearsay. And yeah, in our case, of course, again, hearsay we've seen multiple times. In this case, for this Pokemon no Shirushi as above, and so yeah, Pokemon signs. And yeah, so the translation, as for the smoke, the rising shapes change, and it appears, it seems that there is there is a Pokemon like one. And yeah, so that's why again I mentioned that no is like one in English in this case. And yeah, after that we have the second part. As we have seen, there are always two. Kemuri ga deteiru tokoro toieba. We stop here for now, but yeah, then there's the continuation. First and foremost, we have again Kemuri between quotes. Then we have ga, the subject particle. Then we have the verb deteiru, dete, from deru, to exit, to come out, to go out, depending, of course, often also with the direction of verb, usually combined with the form of this verb dete iku, dete kuru, to go out, to come out, respectively. Iku, to go, unaccented; kuru, to come, accent on the accented. But yeah, in this case we have simply to exit, well, to come out, but yeah, not actually specified in Japanese. The ru is a ru verb incident verb, so we can drop the ru and add te to make that a form. In this case required, because then we had iru, again the verb to be, to exist, but in this case when it follows the te form of a verb, it means it's used for a continuing action or state. And so yeah, the be doing or have, had, respectively. In this case, I'd say continuing action, also considering that after this deteiru we have a noun, which is again our tokoro. So technically, before the verb and everything before is a relative clause again. Tokoro, we have seen on its own means place, spot, location, unaccented. But yeah, when used with these verbs before it, its meaning is place, but in spot, figuratively. And yeah, in this case we have simply have one in teiru, and so yeah, simply is doing to specify that it's that meaning and not that and not the continuing state one. Then we have the to, which is in this case the quotation particle, required because then we use a verb of saying you, in our case in ieba, because of further conjugation. You, also pronounced as you, and sometimes written as such, but yeah, you is the fundamental form, means to say. It's a verb codon verb, so we can change the u into a. In this case, to then add ba, and so make a conditional form. This one is the closest one. Well, again, conditional or also temporal, so literally like in English, if or when. This is the closest one to the first conditional, even though there are, of course, different usages. But yeah, so far it simply means literally, if you say, as in if you mention, if you talk about, and then we have the quotation. Well, in this case, actually, I was mentioning Tokoro being figuratively, but I think it's actually literally. And so, literally, as in, if you mention a place, a spot, and so on, where smoke comes out, yes, so literal place, but yeah. And then we have the suspension dots. And after that it says Ayashi no wa Asoko jana. Yeah, in this case we have then an adjective, Ayashi. We have seen it before, which in this series also. It means suspicious. I think unaccented. Yes, unaccented. Then we have no, and yeah, in this case, let's say, again, could be simply the nominalizer, could also be translated again as a suspicious one. A suspicious one could be. And then we have the topic particle wa, and so yeah, as for a suspicious one, and then we have Asoko. Here we finally see it. I mentioned it before, it's one of the Koso-Ado series. Close to both the speaker and the listener, so far from both. So far from the speaker, close to the listener, far from both. Do the interrogative, Koso a usually unaccented, do accent on the first syllable, so on the do itself. In this case, by adding ko, here we actually see it as a so ko because it's an exception. The other ones are koko, soko, doko. And yes, so those are regular, but this one is an exception, so be careful. We finally see it instead of me just mentioning it. And yes, so it means there, as in over there. And yeah, then we have the copula, because it's a pronoun. And so we have the copula after it, ja, again, ja in particular because it's the one used by old people in fiction, and yeah, ok is old, because ok is the one mentioning all these hints. And last but not least, we have this na, again, could be, apart from its own meanings, more like wow, and but yeah, often, as we have seen, just like ne or yo, I'd say in this case yo, and again, so yeah, hey, or you know. And yeah, so the translation is as for a suspicious one, as in place, the above mentioned place. It's literally, it's over there, you know, in the sense that it's found there, it's located there. You see that it's well, we can also use this location koko, soko, asoko, doko, with the usual particles and the verbs, and locative verbs like aru, iru, iru. But we also have this structure, the pronoun itself plus the copula, and so yeah, but the meaning is still, it's found, implied it's located here, there, over there. Or also where, if we use doko, and so the interrogative. Where is it, as in where it's located. And yeah, so we've seen this one. I'd say we can take our usual break now. And when we're back, we'll continue, we'll do the remaining 3. And I'd say hopefully it won't take us too long. And so we should also be able to replay at the very least one of the stages. And so finally find one of these signs. But yeah, as usual, around 5 minutes. So yeah, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. And yeah, we can now continue with the Pokémon signs, the hints for the Pokémon signs. The next one, which is this one. It says Janguru no kawa no soba ni 誰が植えたのか、ポケモンによく似た木が立っておる。First and foremost, we have jungle, which of course comes from English, jungle, accented luckily on the first syllable as expected, so jungle. Then we have the possessive particle no. Then we have kawa. We've seen it before. It means in this series it means a river, stream. An accent on the last syllable, sorry. Even though, again, as a reminder, words accented on the last syllable and unaccented ones have the same pronunciation unless we add a particle. Not no, because it's an exception. It makes words accented on the on the last syllable unaccented, act like unaccented ones. But any other particle like waga, o, ni, and so on, and yeah, you'd hear the difference then can be heard between words accented on the last syllable because the particle would be low, and unaccented ones where it keeps the same pitch, height. But yeah, again we have kawa, so river stream, then the possessive particle no. So in this case it will be kawa no. And so yeah, as I mentioned, it stays high, the pitch. Then we have a noun, which is soba. Noun, which means, well, apart from the one which has the same pronunciation, we also we'll check also if also the accent, but yeah, it's a kind of food. Japanese bakuet noodles. Those, I'm pretty sure, yeah, those are accented on the first syllable. This one actually also, so unfortunately you can't distinguish it from the accent. But yeah, of course you can distinguish them because of the context. Because this one means place, implied nearby, close by, also right next to, can also mean the side of something, and so beside, vicinity, proximity, technically also neighborhood, but yeah, the fundamental meaning so is beside, or a place beside, nearby, close by. And yeah, so nearby the river in our case, we usually get the noun with the possessive particle no, and then this soba. Similar also to we have seen for with naka, the middle of, so in that case literally among, but yeah, the structure is still the same in Japanese. And yeah, after that we have the particle ni. In this case, the locative particle used usually with verbs of staying, often, more often than not, aru, iru, again. In this case, a different one technically, but yeah, the meaning is still that it is in that place, and yeah, so we get this particle here ni instead of the particle there for the location used with all the other verbs. After that, we have dare, which is the interrogative, which means who, accented on the first syllable. Dare. Then we have this the ga. You can unfortunately it can't be seen well, but yeah, it's a ga. And so that's simply the subject particle. Be careful because you might think at first that it's dare ka, but yeah, no, there's also there's the duck 10 here, even if it's not that clear. Dare ka, and so by adding the interrogative particle, we will get the word one. So the corresponding some word, also accent on the first syllable. But yeah, in this case, simply who. Then we have a verb, ueta, from ueru, which means to plant, to grow, to raise, but yeah, actually the fundamental meaning as in to plant. Also as in to implant, to insert, to transplant. But yeah, the fundamental meaning to plant. We'll check its accent. Unaccented, okay, ueru. It's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru and add ta to make the ta form, and so the past form of the verb. Then we have again no. Again the nominalizer. After that we have ka, the interrogative particle, and so technically this would be an indirect question. We have seen before such cases with this ka after a verb and actually a sentence, but not at the end of the whole sentence. And yeah, these are indirect questions. Then we have Pokémon. We have the particle ni. In this case, required by the following verb. To technically would be the meaning, but yeah, you see better in which sense when we see the verb. We have then yoku from yoi, e. E is the most common form when used on its own. We have to go back to yoi when conjugating it, like in this case it's a adjective, so we can drop the e and add ku to make the adverbial form, and in this case actually the corresponding adverb. And so from good, well, and similar extended meanings, but yeah, well. Then we have the verb nita, from the verb niru, I think unaccented. There is actually another one, but this one is niru, which means to resemble. And yeah, so it's a ru verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the ru to add ta and make the corresponding ta form, and so the past form of the verb. After that, we have, between quotations again, a noun, and so, yet again, this is a relative clause. Noun which is ki, not the one we have seen before in the expression okiniri. This one is the one accented, ki, And it's a word which means tree, also shrub, bush technically, but yeah, the fundamental meaning tree. By extension also wood, timber. Yeah, the fundamental meaning is tree. And yeah, it's actually in that sense in this case. Then we have the subject particle ga. And then we have this verb tatte from tatsu. And so tatsu means to stand up. It's such accented tatsu. To rise. And so also the fundamental meaning is to stand, as in to stand up more often than not, but also to stand in a position of a person, a tree, like in our case, a building, and so on. And so yeah, to stand as in to be situated in, on. And yeah, that's why we have the particle ni then, because if we say it to stand as in the sense to be situated, yeah, we get a locative verb. And yeah, so that's why we have ni above the one after soba. It's a verb code verb, so we have to follow the rules to make that a form. It's in tsu, and so it becomes double consonant te, small tsu, so double consonant. Again, continuative form, so ta, si, then the I fell, and so actually remained tat, only a single T, because then the changes in chi and tsu happened later. Yeah, so t, and so actually simply the doubling of the following consonant te, because it's easier to pronounce. And yet the form in this case required, because then we had oru, the humble form of iru, accented unlike iru. But yeah, the meaning is still the same, so continuing state or action. Well, technically in this case is standing, and yeah, so technically continuing action, but yeah, in the sense that it is like that. But yeah, so the translation becomes in well, next in the vicinity of the river of the jungle river, better in English to avoid all this off. Stands a tree which resembles, which quite, we can translate that yoku as quite in this case, or very, yeah, quite resembles a Pokémon. One planted by well, technically in this case it again it would be an indirect question that but yeah, we then have to adapt it in English, but yeah, the meaning is that the tree that it's unknown who planted it, a tree that quite resembles a Pokémon. Oh yeah, okay, continue. And yeah, after that it says Nandemo kasumi no mukou ni sore o mita toyu hito ga irunja ga nazo ja. First and foremost, we have Nandemo, which comes from nani, accent on the first syllable, often abbreviated, and we are forced to abbreviate it in certain situations, like in this case as nan. But yeah, the meaning doesn't change. Nani means what. You might have heard it in as an exclamation in anime. The famous one for Nani from Feast of the North Star and so on. But yeah, in this case we don't have Nani on its own, but we have it. We then have, well, we have Nan because of the following addition, and we have Demo. Demo in this case, we've seen it at the, as a conjugation at the start of sentences, so in that case, literally that's a form of the copula, and mo, the inclusive particle, so with the meaning but, however, literally, even though it is like that, in reference to what has been said before, and then we have this the continuation of the sentence. In this case, it's actually used as a particle. Well, when used as a particle with other words, it would mean even. Again, because technically the origin is the same. The copula, the form of the copula, mo, and so the inclusive particle, and so yeah, even. And that's why we also see it temo, the form temo, even though, yeah, even. And that's why we have even, and so also even is the meaning of mo on its own, the inclusive particle. But yeah, even. And when used after interrogative words, it gives them the meaning ever. So in our case, whatever. And so yeah, by of course also in the meaning technically anything, even though there's another word for anything. Or even better, as in everything. But yeah, the literal construction would be whatever. And yeah, we have other combinations with this demo for the with the interrogatives. But yeah, whatever. Actually, in this case, since it's at the start of a sentence, it's actually used as an adverb, which means I am told, I hear, I understand, they say. But yeah, again, simply some hearsay. We could say as in maybe as if in whatever is the case, and then one starts telling what they have heard. But yeah, it's used also in this way. Then we have kasumi. Again, from a verb, a noun from a verb, kasumu. I think an accent, yes, it's an accented. Kasumu means to become misty, to become hazy. Yeah, by extension, to get blurry, to grow dim, also to be overshadowed, to be upstaged, to be outshone. But yeah, the fundamental meaning is to become misty / hazy. it's a U verb, codon verb, so we can change the E into U, the U into E, to make the continuative form, and so get the corresponding noun, Kasumi. Should be unaccented, hopefully, by following the rules, and it is Kasumi, which means mist or haze, especially in spring. Yeah, honestly, it's worth mentioning that also because there's another word for mist, as more in like fog. Yeah, this is haze, mist, unaccented. By the way, funny enough, it's also the Japanese name of Misty, the Pokemon character. And yeah, they literally quite close. The translation, the literal translation of this this word. But yeah, then we have the possessive particle no. After that we have muko. It's a noun, muko, which means opposite side, the other side. Also used by extension as in over there, ahead, beyond, in the distance, far away, far off. Other similar extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is other side, and then we get all these other meanings. The accent is on the ko, muko, but of course, because OU, so long O, and so actually on the ko, because it's on the syllable. Of course, actually related to the verb muku, which we have seen before. It also uses the same kanji, but can also be heard in the pronunciation. Muku, as a reminder, actually muku unaccented. The verb means to turn toward, to look, up, down, and so on. We have seen in this very series. And also to face, for example, of a building and so on, in a direction. And yeah. So that's why we then get this also this noun, which means opposite, other side. Then we have the particle ni, again the locative particle with a verb of with a locative verb. In our case, as you can see further in the sentence, iru, simply in this case. Then we have sore, again part of the Kosoado series. With re we have the pronoun, and so that. Not followed by anything because it's the pronoun, the demonstrative pronoun. Then we have the object particle o. Then we have mita, from the verb again miru, to see, to look at, to watch. It's a root verb, it's then verb, so we can drop the root to add that, make the ta form, so the past form of the verb. After that we have to, and so again in this case the quotation particle, because after that we have you again, so say, and then to, with the to before it, and so the what is said. In this case, after you, we have a noun, and so actually it's a relative clause, yet again. Noun, which is hito, the most common word for person, and so also people, well, often we can actually have a way to say people to make the plural, but yeah, technically could be used also hito for people in general. But yeah, the fundamental meaning person is an accented hito. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have iru, as I already mentioned, to be as in to exist. And so there are iru because, again, the subject in this case it's person, people. Last but not least, we have nja. Again, from no da, no abbreviated into n. Ja, simply the copula. Again, it is that, and all those the other translation. The fact is that, the explanation is that, and so on. Then we have this ga at the end. Again, the conjugation. In this case, let's say but. In other cases, we technically would have. We can find this ga at the end of a sentence, because then it's implied the rest of it, because often it's something that you don't want to say out loud because it might be rude, but you imply it anyway. In this case, simply actually it's said, but after this suspension. That something is naso ja. So we have this naso. We check its accent, but the meaning is mystery. Also riddle, puzzle, enigma. Can also be used with the particle no to make kind of like an adjective, literally of mystery, of enigma, and so naso no, enigmatic, mysterious. Naso unaccented, okay. And then in this case we simply have the copula, of course, because it's a noun, and so it's a mystery. And yeah, the full translation becomes I am told, I hear, all those meanings of nandemo at the start of a sentence. By the way, actually, I've just checked, nandemo is technically actually unaccented, so is an exception. Usually the accent is kept on the na, nani, and so on, because nanika. But yeah, nandemo is apparently unaccented according to the online dictionary plus plugin combination. But yeah, I hear that there are people saying, who say, literally would be who say, that they, implied, have seen that of course, as in the tree on the other side of mist, haze. We could say beyond. Yeah, beyond is often a translation of buko. Like in this case, it's perfect. Literally, again, from those other side and so on. But, well, of course, we would have had it is that and so on, everything I've already mentioned. But, suspension, it's a mystery. Actually, in this case, it could be But yeah, it's technically explicited in with that nasal draft after the suspension. Yeah, we can continue. Yeah, we'll be able definitely to tackle both these. Maybe even replay one of the stages. I doubt also go through the checks, but yeah, we'll see. The next one says this first and foremost. Between quotes, everything. Hikari Kagayaku Mono. First and foremost, we have Hikari. We've seen it before. I think actually last time because of one of previous sign, Pokemon sign. Hikari comes from the verb hikaru, which means to shine, to glitter, to be bright, but yeah, the fundamental meaning to shine. Actually accented, so hikaru. Yeah, because then it's a verb, because then verb we can change the u into i to make hikari accent on the last syllable, and yeah, that's also the confirmation of the accent of hikaru. And so yeah, the continuative form and so the corresponding noun. More often than not, simply light. Then there's this space, and so there's actually, I'd say, an implied ga, an implied subject particle. Then we have the verb kagayaku, which is a verb that means to shine, to sparkle, to twinkle, to glitter, to glisten, all those verbs. Yeah, let's say fundamental one, to shine. Technically, by extension, also to light up with happiness, hope, and so on. To beam, as in that sense, in that figurative sense. Accented, by the way, kagayaku. And after that, we have mono. And so, actually, hikari kagayaku is a relative clause, modifying the following noun, mono, which is thing, as in object. We have seen by extension also technically with a different kanji, which we have actually studied both in a previous series, means person, but yeah, the fundamental meaning is thing, as in object. Mono, by the way, accent on the syllable. And so literally would be thing that shines with light. Literally would be technically that the light shines. But yeah, better in translation, thing that shines with light, or something like that. And the suspension dots, and we'll see what it says after it. And then Oak says, Sorei gai wa washi ni mo wakaranai no ja. So yeah, we get again sore, that, the pronoun. Then we have this igai, a noun, actually more often than not used as a suffix. Technically would be, as we would see with the kanji, because the one for gai is the strictly gai is the Chinese pronunciation of the kanji with the strictly Japanese reading soto. Soto means outside, exterior, but yeah, fundamental meaning outside. And so in this Chinese compound, igai, by the way, accent on the I, so be careful, it's an exception. Although, as we'll see, I think other ones with this I at the start, which is a kanji, which means by means of, because, and so on, but yeah. There are other ones that I think they're also accent on the first syllable. We'll keep it at that for now, but we'll see it when we see them again. But yeah, this one, igai, it means also outside, a boundary, scope, and so on. But the most common meaning is excluding, except for, apart from, other than, besides, in addition to, but yeah, the fundamental meanings are except for, apart from, yeah, apart from, except for that. Then we have the topic particle wa. Then we have washi, the usual first person pronoun singular. Again, the one used by old people, by the elderly, so like ok. Abbreviation again of watashi, the original one, which is used now as the formal I. Watashi, the most common one. And yeah, we have this washi, which is used by the elderly. Then we have ni, which means, in this case, to, required by the verb, but we'll see in which sense when we see the verb. We have then mo, the inclusive particle, even to, or we could say also by in this case, but we'll see it again with the verb. Also, in this case, I'd say better even. Verb, which is wakaranai. We've actually seen it before, don't remember if in this very series. Wakaru means to understand, to comprehend. It comes from to become clear, to be known, to be discovered. It technically, because it is clear because something is separated, because I mention it since it uses the kanji also used by the verb wakeru, and that one means to divide into, to split into, to part, to separate, and so on. By extension, also in the sense to distinguish, to discriminate, to differentiate between. And yeah, because of that, that one is the transitive verb. Wakaru technically is the intransitive form. Again, we have one in eru, the other one in aru. Most likely the one in aru is an older form of the passive. And so it is distinguished. And so yeah, then it becomes the modern meaning, which is to understand, as in from, to become clear, to be known, to be discovered. Yeah, still worth mentioning again, because you might wonder why we have this, they use the same kanji when we study them, and also why we use this wakaru and why it's related to wakeru. And yeah, in this, wakaru is a uverkodan verb, So we can change the U into A to make the Irrealis form as I mentioned in literally from Japanese would be the not yet state form. And yeah, it's the one because it's not yet actually used in combination with the adjective nai, which means non-existent. It's used to make the negative form of verbs in plain speech. With simply nai, we have the present, the negative form in the present. We would then have to further conjugate nai to make the past form and so on. But yeah, so in this case, I we have it above, or even better in this case because we have this ni. It isn't known. It isn't. It hasn't become clear. It isn't discovered. Yeah, in this case, it isn't known. Simply, it isn't known even to me by me. And then, last but not least, we have again a no ja, so it is that. And yeah, the translation is simply as for that. As for apart from that, it is that it isn't known even by me. And yeah, so actually the most vague hint so far. And yeah, last but not least, we have this one. Kiritatta yama ni kakomarete Pokémon ni sokkuri na yama ga aru soja. First and foremost, we have this Kiritatta. From it's a compound verb from kiritatsu should be. Kiri, we've seen it before, it's from kiru, to cut, and several extended meanings. It's a u verb, Govdan verb, despite being in iru, so be careful. Yeah, that's why we can change the u into i to make the continuative form. In this case, required to then add the following verb, part of the compound, which is tatsu, which we have seen before. Again, rise, stand up, stand, as rise in this case, simply. And yes, so we get this kiritatsu, unaccented, so be careful, despite tatsu being accented. Which means to rise perpendicularly, to tower steeply. So yeah, we simply have the from tatsu to rise, and then with this kiri it specifies how it rises. And yeah, with this the kata, I'd say, with more like in the limits, as we have seen, of also for kiri as accented but on the final syllable, by the way, the corresponding noun, because it also means end, finish, bound, limit. And yeah, so that's the meaning. Then we have a following noun, so again it's technically a relative clause, in this case only the verb, modifying the following noun. Yama, which means mountain, accent on the last syllable, yama. And yeah, in this case, by the way, we see the accent actually by adding ni, yamani, yamani. So low, high, low. Ni in this case particle, which means by, as in the agent. As we'll see, because actually when using a passive verb, because we then have this verb kakomareru, of course here in the form, but it actually comes from the verb kakomu. We check also its accent, but the meaning is to surround, to encircle, to enclose, to fence, to wall in. Other extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is to surround. And also in all those other senses. Okay, by the way, unaccented, so kakomu. It's a verb, cotton verb, so we can change the u into a, and then add reru. In this case, we can see the ru because of further conjugation to make the passive form. And so yeah, be surrounded, be encircled, to be enclosed, and so on by mountains, and that's why we have that ni. But yeah, then we have the passive form is ru verb, it's a verb, so we can simply drop the ru and add te to make the form. In this case, simply to make the form and, so whatever has been said so far, and what's said after it, to connect, so to send to clauses. And yeah, we then have Pokémon, then we have the particle ni. In this case, again, two in the sense of because we have something related to the resemblance, like we have seen before with Niru. In this case, we have instead Sokuri, which means it's can be used also as an adverb, all together entirely completely. But yeah, in this case, it's used as an adjective, as we can see also here. It has na because there's a following noun. And when used as an adjective, it means exactly alike in appearance, spitting image of, identical, strikingly similar. It's an onomatopoeia, one of those in ri, and luckily, like most of those, accented on the syllable before the ri, so on the ku, in this case, sokuri, sokuri. And yeah, then we have the na, because we then have a noun which is yama, in quotations, to put the emphasis on it and also distinguish it from the mountains, the yama above, which are the ones simply surrounding it. But yeah, we have to focus on this mountain. We have the subject particle ga. Then we have aru, again, to be as in to exist, so simply there is, there are, I'd say in this case. And then after that we have so. Pay attention that we have seen another so, but that one comes after the continuative form of verbs, and that one means appearing that, seeming that, looking like, so in the having the appearance of, so in the sense of the appearance, something looks like because of its appearance. This one instead, so this so means is used to say it seems that, because of hearsay, again because someone else told us. And yeah, so in that case you use the final form of the verb. So usually the dictionary form in modern Japanese. And after that we simply have the copula già, because requires it's, let's say it's a noun. Yeah, that's why we have that, then the copula at the end. And yes, so the translation becomes it seems, because again of hearsay, it seems that there is a mountain surrounded by towering mountains. Again, the meanings we have seen for kiritata, so rising perpendicularly mountains, and identical, exactly alike, spitting image of, and so on, the meanings of sokuri as an adjective, identical to a Pokemon. And yeah, then it says, last but not least, washi wa kore o sagashi ni keikoku e ittanja. First and foremost, we have washi, again the pronoun ok uses, because it means I, again for all the elderly, the topic particle wa, and so as for me. Then we have kore, the demonstrative pronoun this, because we have ko in this case. So this, in reference to this mountain. This, then we have the object particle o. Then we have sagashi ni, from sagasu, should be unaccented if I recall correctly. We have seen it in this very series. Means to search, as in to search for, to look for, to search through also, as in to search a house, a pocket, and so on. But yeah, the fundamental meaning, to search. And yeah, unaccented. So verb, code, and verb, so we can change the U into I to make the continuative form. In this case, required, because then we add this particle ni, and so make the to search, as in a final clause, in particular one used with verbs of movement, as we'll see in a second. Yeah, we have continuative form of the verb ni, so to do the action of the verb. Then we have keikoku, which we have seen, it's one of the name of our courses. This one is the valley. An accent should be in particular a valley with a river running through it, like in our case. Yeah, it's an accent, it's a Chinese compound. Then we have the particle e, written as he, which means the direction of the action, towards. In this case, used because technically we could also use ni, but not in this case, because the ni is reserved for the verb in the continuative form above. The place towards which we are going is marked with e. And then, last but not least, we have the verb itta, from iku, to go, as already mentioned. Unfortunately, despite being a verb code verb, it's the only exception when it comes to the te and ta form, because it becomes itta instead of ita, like verbs in ku, do, Most likely because, again, in this case it became, we used the continuity form iki and then added ta. But unlike the other verbs where the k fell and so i remained, here most likely the i fell and so ikta, difficult to pronounce, double consonant instead, itta. Last but not least, we have nza again, no da, it is that. The fact is that, as for me, it is that I went to the valley to search for, we should add in English, this. And yeah, we have seen Oak there. Yeah, with that we have checked them all. I'd say that we still have some time. We should be able to actually play one of the courses. Unfortunately, of course, we will have to keep the camera check and so on for next time. But yeah, we can actually play one of the courses, I'd say. We'll actually start with the Volcano for a reason. And by the way, you might have guessed, I'll quickly show it again. These are in order for the courses based on the hints. We literally have the valley at the end mentioned. This one is the river. Of all the elements mentioned, the other ones are all in order. So yeah, we'll go for the third one. You might have guessed which Pokemon sign it is based on the shape. And yeah, we'll play the Volcano. And yeah, I have to be careful here. Much as I will quickly take that, but then I have to do this. And yeah, we got that Shirushi with the question mark, and yeah, it's one of the Pokemon signs. I tried still to get some better photos here if possible. We could technically make use of the dash engine to make it faster, of course. But for now, I'd like to attract these Vulpix. And yeah, so we can get 2 Vulpix here. Even better, please. Oh. Okay, we get 3, but they're facing the wrong direction. Yeah, I'm not bothering with... Okay, no, I could actually bother with those, but yeah, no. Now the Vulpix are too far. We'll actually try also these. Again. Please come closer. Come closer. Yeah, please. Even though I'm not, I don't think we'll get great photos from these. I will try it. We'll get some of the Charmanders again, if we can get a better photo of them. Yeah, luckily, actually, the courses themselves are quite short, so we do have the time to play them. Like to attract also, yeah, thank you. Now all come here, please. Please, okay, thank you. The other one is also calling the remaining ones. And yeah, we have all those. Yeah. Please come here, don't go away. Okay. Please all come here now. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, now we have to get the best photo possible here. Okay, perfect. Let's continue. Let's get the Moltres again, as usual. See if we can get a better one there. The Magmars would be best for these, but I have... yeah, no, unfortunately we can't get them. Try that one. This is what I want first and foremost, apart from the sign, because now we have Pestables and we can throw them there inside, if I can aim correctly, to get Growlithe. And also Arcanine. Luckily, I got lucky there because actually it isn't guaranteed. Of course, I could technically get a third one to get an additional one there, but yeah. Let's try to get some photos of Charizard here. Okay. Oops. Okay. I actually took a photo of that. And we actually checked that quickly. We have seen what happens. Well, we were close to the end anyway. But yeah, when you run out of film, and because you have taken all 60 photos, that shows up and you immediately end the course. But yeah, so let's quickly go to the photo and check that out. Yeah, we see literally the film with "and" on it, and then we get this Japanese writing: "Filがなくなりました." First and foremost, we have "firmu," which means from English film, usually simply as in the literal film, like of a camera, because we have other words, another word for movie, film as in movie. Yeah, it's accent on the first syllable, so like in English, firmu, firumu. Of course, by the way, we get ru because in English, in Japanese, we don't have the sound L, so it becomes the closest one, which is R, the Japanese R. We have, of course, to add the U because we don't have the consonant on its own. Same for mu. Mu instead of m because we don't have m on its own. Sometimes it's replaced by n, but of course, usually when it's actually pronounced as m. And so when there's a following labial consonant, like another mu, mami mu me mo one, or papi pupe po, or papi bube bo. But yeah, then we have the subject particle ga. And then we have the verb nakunari mashita, from nakunaru, literally it comes from, technically, from nai, again the adjective which means non-existent, which it's a adjective, so we can drop the e and add ku to make the adverbial form. In this case, used to then add the verb naru, which on its own means to become, accented. And so, yeah, the meaning would be to become non-existent, literally, even though, yeah. And so, the meaning of nakunaru, by the way, actually, you unaccented when used in this combination, so be careful. Like naru, which is accented, nai on its own also accented. Yeah, nakunaru means to be lost, to be missing, literally to become non-existent. Because of that, also can be used and as in to be used up, to be run out, to be exhausted, and so on, like in our case. Also to disappear, of pain, to be lost, of a dream or confidence. With a different kanji, it's worth mentioning that nakunaru, still unaccented, also means to die, to pass away, is an euphemistic usage. The actual verb which means to die is shinu. Should be unaccented, but I'll check. Yes, unaccented. But yeah, you'll often hear Nakunaru instead because, of course, it's a euphemism. But yeah, in our case, it's simply of something, of an object, and yeah, it's in the sense to become non-existent, as in to be used up, to be run out. Nakunaru, naru, also on its own is a U verb godan verb, so we can change the U into I to make the continuative form. In this case, to add the auxiliary verb mashita, from mas, again, used to make the polite form of verbs. In this case, we have mashita, and so actually the past form in the affirmative. And so yeah, simply, this means the film ran out, was consumed, however you prefer to translate. But yeah, that's the meaning. Literally, the film became non-existent. But yeah, in the sense the film was used up and so on. And yeah, with that, we can go back and actually simply save our state here, because it's time to end the stream. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll go back here. And yeah, so today we have at least started checking out the gallery. We have a lot of more, unfortunately, but we try to do it when we can. We finished finally the hints for the Pokémon signs, and luckily we had at least some time to replay the third stage, the third course. And yes, so next time we'll do the camera check, Professor Ox check, and we'll continue from there. Next time, which should be on Friday as usual, unless plans change. And yeah, see you next time.